Sorry about that. I almost forgot to start the recording, so I started that now. Next, we're going to go to Miss Hanson.
Hi, I'm Katie Hansen. I'm a financial aid advisor. I'm just so excited that everyone's here getting to learn all this stuff that I wish I would have known when I went to college. So welcome, and we're always here to help.
Thank you. And then we'll hand it over to Miss Bednarek.
Hi, I'm Jamie Bednarek. I'm the bursar, which means I oversee the student financial services area. And we're here to give you a little bit more information about actually the billing process and paying your bill. We know that's not everybody's favorite subject, so the more you know and the more information we can give you will hopefully make the process smoother.
Thank you so much. And then we'll pass it over to Miss Mahalski.
Hi, I'm Terry Mahalski, and I work in the Student Financial Services Office on the billing side, and I'm here to try and help answer questions after the presentation.
And last but not least, I am not the only student in the call here today. So I do have my friends Cameron and Alexis with me. So I will have Cameron introduce himself first.
Hi guys, I'm the infamous Cameron Anderson. I'm a sophomore on campus going for mathematical education, so hopefully I'll be a math teacher when I'm done. And I'm working in the admissions office right now as a peer mentor, but typically also as a campus ambassador.
And last but not least, Miss Alexis.
Hi everyone, I'm Alexis. I'm a sophomore on campus studying social work and sociology with a minor in criminal justice. Same as Cameron, working as a peer mentor this summer, but I also work in the Office of Admission Recruitment during the school year.
And if throughout the presentation today you have any questions, do feel free to reach out to any of us in the chat. I will personally be moderating the chat and making sure everyone's questions get answered. So without further ado, let's get this party started. What do you say?
Okay, I'm going to start this off. I'm, again, Melissa, and we're going to go over first the difference between the two offices of the Office of Financial Aid and Scholarships and the Student Financials Office. Sometimes students get them confused. They'll come to our office thinking that they have billing questions or whatever, or they go to the Student Financials Office thinking that they can help them with their financial aid. But actually they are two separate offices. The Office of Financial Aid and Scholarships administers all of the financial aid, including grants, loans, scholarships, and work study. And we provide financial education. So we have a financial literacy program that helps students understand everything that's involved in borrowing money, your credit, improving your credit scores, and just trying to, obtain more scholarship funds, things like that. So anything that you have questions with regarding getting the funds to help pay for your education, that would be financial aid. When it comes to the Student Financials Office, they help you with your payment plans. They collect payments. They collect a payment permission form. They do your 1098-T, and they help you, figure out how you're going to pay how to do the billing process to make your payments online and things like that. Jamie, do you want to add anything to that? Terry? That's good? Okay, good. Then, so when you apply for financial aid, you fill out the FAFSA. And it's not too late if you haven't done that already. The only thing is to know that the earlier you apply for financial aid, there's a greater chance that we have funds available. So if you haven't applied yet, it's not too late. Go ahead and still do so. Make sure you list UW Stevens Point's school code on the FAFSA application, and that's 003924. And then we'll receive your FAFSA application. Once we've received your FAFSA application, what happens is, once you're admitted and we receive your FAFSA application, we'll pick up your form and actually extend an aid offer to you. So that's It's pretty simple. The application is easily accessible on many different formats. You can do it online on a web or on a phone. You can get it on paper. And for people who maybe have hearing issues, there is assistance available to help you fill it out that way as well. So if you're filing your FAFSA and you have any questions or need any help in filing your FAFSA, we're here to help you. It needs to be filed every year. So if you are just filing it now for this year, you can start filing it for next year, which is 21-22, starting October 1st of 2020. So you start filing it the October 1st prior to the upcoming school year. Let's see here. Okay, so once you receive your financial aid offer, there's a few things that you'll need to do. The first thing is we encourage students to routinely check your access point and your email. Anything that we need to communicate to you is going to be done through your UW-Stevens Point email. So start checking that now. As far as your access point, log into access point. That's where you will accept and decline any aid offer that we've extended to you. And it's also where you can see some of our disclosures, which explains, what a master promissory note is and some of the other important consumer information that's available to financial aid recipients. Also, if you've accepted any direct loans, there are 2 extra steps that you're going to have to do. One is you need to complete a master promissory note, and you're going to also have to complete entrance loan counseling. However, these tasks will not show as completed until we've originated your loan, and that won't happen until sometime in late August. So if you're logging into Access Point and you've already completed your master promissory note and your loan counseling, don't worry about those tasks being still outstanding. They don't get picked up till we originate the loan. The other thing to keep in mind is that financial aid will start applying to your account come about 10 days prior to the first day of your fall class. So how do you apply for scholarships? Well, you must apply for them. That's the first thing. So students should start their search with local scholarships, since these often are a little less competitive, but you should still do at least one national search. And our website has information about some of the largest scholarship search services out there. And you basically create a profile and they start feeding you a bunch of scholarship information. So if you haven't done that, that's something else you can do. To make the process easier, we suggest that you keep a Word document of all the questions you're asked on scholarship applications and your answers, since they're often similar on each scholarship application, and we don't want you to have to keep recreating the wheel. Also, if you find scholarships that you want to apply for either now or in the future, keep a calendar of the scholarship deadlines. The easiest way to not get a scholarship is to not apply on time. So it's really important that you get your scholarships, you apply for scholarships. And it's also important to know that our website has an abundance of information related to financial aid and scholarships, and you'll find the online scholarship reporting form on our website, and you can use that to notify our office of any scholarships you're receiving. In some cases, financial aid will be adjusted and you will be sent a revised award to include any additional resources that you're telling us you're receiving. Normally, receiving scholarships will only impact loan eligibility or self-help aid. So maybe it starts usually with loans we would reduce first and then possibly work study. But that's where, in the end, it's keeping your indebtedness at a minimum. So receiving those scholarships is still a really good thing. And don't think that the scholarship application process ends after you start school your freshman year. Every year, UW Stevens Point has more and more scholarships available to you as you get further along in your educational career. So some scholarships are designated for sophomores and juniors and seniors. So keep that search going and keep that Word document growing and keep that calendar building so that every year you can be on top of that and apply for more scholarships. Okay, how do you find a job? Well, the first thing is you can find student employment by visiting the CASE. It's the Campus Activities and Student Engagement Office. You can go on their website and find all kinds of information about student employment. Students can log into the Quest system to see federal work study as well as non-work study jobs. So even if you weren't awarded federal work study, you may still work in a non-federal job. Many studies have been done on students who work while attending college, and it has been proven that students who work between 10 and 15 hours a week outperform students who don't work at all. And this is attributed to many factors. They've networked themselves more while on campus. They've actually, just from my perspective, students who work in our office, if they're come to work and they're like, hey, you know what, I have a really big test tomorrow and I'm not feeling prepared, I'm really stressed about it, we would say, hey, go, you're a student first, and if we can, if we have coverage and stuff, we would say, go take care of your test, go study for that first. And or if they came into me and they said, I'm really suffering from let's say homesickness, because that happens when you go to college. Sometimes you feel a little out of sorts and it takes a while to get comfortable living in a residence hall and things like that. That's normal. After you get past that first month, you're going to be like, hey, what was my problem? But if somebody were to come to me, I would know where to refer them. So I would refer them to the counseling center to maybe get some help in dealing with some of those issues. So it's really important that they're networked and I can give them direction, but it also forces them to budget their time more wisely. And usually when a person has a little bit more on their plate, they know that they have to get something done right now and they can't procrastinate it. And so those are some of the reasons that they've attributed to students doing better who are actually working while on campus. The other thing I'm going to remind you of is that the early bird gets the worm. So if you're interested in student employment while you're on campus, it is not too early to start reaching out to departments and saying, hey, do you have any job opportunities available? Maybe they're not listed in Quest yet, and maybe you know exactly what you want to do, and you can start building your career skills right now. And that's a really valuable feature to the student employment program. Once you receive financial aid, you're going to want to be able to continue to maintain your eligibility. And there's a few things you need to do to maintain your eligibility. And they're all around your academic progress. So in order to continue to receive financial aid, you have to meet the satisfactory academic progress standards. And there are 3 pieces to that standard. You have to have and maintain a GPA of 2.0. Grad students have to have a 3.0. You have to stay on pace to graduate on time by completing at least 67% of all the attempted credits that you've attempted. This is calculated by dividing all successfully completed credits by all attempted credits. So it just keeps you on track. We need to make sure that you're always completing at least 67% of your total enrollment. And the final piece of the satisfactory academic progress policy is that is maximum time frame. To receive financial aid, you're allowed 150% of the average program length to complete your degree. And with a 120 credit degree program, you're allowed up to 180 credits to complete that degree. So those are the 3 pieces. What happens if you fail the satisfactory academic progress? Well, there's an appeal process, and you would basically file an appeal, And we would set you up with an academic advisor and develop a plan, and that would come into our office, and then we would approve you for another semester. And then you'd really want to make sure that you're making progress and that you're meeting all of these things. Okay, so know your resources and where to go with questions. Please feel free to use our financial aid checklist to guide you through the financial aid process. Visit our website to view our frequently asked questions. We have a lot of other information on our website. Financial literacy information. There's a valuable tool called Grad Ready, and Grad Ready basically is helpful from, you know, pre-college to while you're in college, and even, you know, after college for lifelong financial wellness. So tap into the Grad Ready tool and create a profile and start learning now on that program. I guess that's pretty much all we have. And once we're back on campus, please don't be a stranger. Stop by the Office of Financial Aid and Scholarships in 103 Student Services Center, and we can help you. And if we don't have an answer to something, we're definitely going to connect you with someone who will be able to help you. So the important thing is to don't be a stranger and come and see us if you have any questions related to obtaining financial aid, the financial aid process, accepting your aid, or continuing to maintain eligibility. On that note, I'm going to turn it over to Terry and Jamie from Student Financials, but we're going to be here afterwards for questions with anything you have regarding financial aid.
All right, well, I'll pick it up from there. Thanks, Melissa. And I did want to say definitely heed Melissa's advice and reach out to them. There are many times that students will reach out to the billing staff and say, what do? I can't pay my bill. And one of the first things we're going to say is, have you talked to financial aid? So make sure you reach out to them. They are so resourceful at finding things and ways for you to come up with maybe that shortage that you can't have to pay your bill. So on that note, how will you receive your bill? Yay, the billing side. So once again, this is where your UWSP email becomes really important. Each time we send out a bill, you're going to receive an email that that bill is now available to be viewed online. You're going to need to log in to use your UWSP login and log into Access Point. And you're going to click on that financial account and billing tile. And I think it's important to note that you will not get any paper bills when you are currently enrolled on campus. So make sure that you're paying attention. Make sure you're looking at your emails. That's our primary way to communicate with you. So once you click on that financial account and billing tile, you're going to get to this next screen that has a menu on the left-hand side, which is pretty self-explanatory. There's a couple of things that I would just point out. First, on the bottom is your invoice and bills. So that's where you'll end up clicking, and you'll have any bills that are available to you. So just like a credit card statement would be, this is going to be a snapshot in time from when we run that bill. So it's going to have the due date from when that balance is due and the amount that is due from the day we run that bill. The account activity section, that's up a little bit here, that's going to have all the activity on your account up until when you're looking at that screen. So it could be after the billing date where maybe you've made a payment or you've had a refund or there's been additional charges posted to your account. So sometimes the amount you owe at a current time will be different than what you're seeing in your account activity on your Access Point. The direct deposit area, this is going to be a really important area for you to set up for any refunds that you might be due. So if you have successfully gotten financial aid and it is paid everything on your account and you actually have money coming back to you, you're going to get a lot faster if you've set up your direct deposit. All you really need is your banking information. It's just your routing number and your account number. If you don't, you can get it at the bottom of your checks, but we know a lot of people these days don't have checks. So you can always call your bank to get that information. They'll be happy to give you that so that you can get this set up. We also processed refunds 3 times a week. So if you have direct deposit, you're going to get it faster because we only issue checks once a week. on Fridays. So make sure that you take care of that. And then another really important tab, I'm going to actually have you go back to that. There's towards the bottom is the financial aid pay permissions. So financial aid will pay your tuition, room, and board, but in order for your financial aid to pay for additional items, you need to complete your financial aid pay permissions. It's very self-explanatory. You just click on that button and walk through the steps. But say you make a charge at the bookstore after you've paid your bill, or you maybe went over your printing allotment and you have a printing charge. You want to make sure that your financial aid can pay for that, because if it can't, you could actually get a refund of money, but actually still owe a balance on your account. That gets very confusing to students. So make sure you just take care of those pay permissions, and then you'll never end up owing a balance once you've gotten a refund. And then there's also the make a payment towards the top there. That's for any online payments or to sign up from one of our payment plans, and we'll talk about that in one of the next couple of slides here. So when is my bill due? So each term has its own payment deadline and late fee schedule. The billing dates and deadlines are all available on the Student Financial website. It's important to be aware of what those days are. For the fall, we'll have 4 billing dates and 4 due dates. The first bill is going out on August 27th, so a little bit before classes start, and is going to be due on September 29th. So keep that date in mind, and our due dates are very hard due dates. If you have a check that you postmarked on the 29th, but we don't have it, your account isn't paid in full by the due date. So make sure that we have received the payment in our office by that date. If you do not pay in full by the first bill due date or enroll in one of our payment plans that we'll talk about, you will be assessed a $75 administrative fee or incur 1% finance charge, and incur finance charges per month. So it is very worthwhile to make sure that you get your bill paid and or sign up for a payment plan. So how do you go about paying your bill? As of right now, we still have the same options that we've always had, and we'll kind of go through those. So you can pay in person with cash, checks, or money orders, and you can pay online with an e-check or credit card through your Access Point account. So if you choose to pay online through that make a payment, if you do pay by credit card, there is a 2.75% fee for paying by credit card. That's to cover the credit card fees that we get assessed. But you can pay online via e-check at no cost. So this is a really good way, especially with the current environment. We're really going to encourage students to make those payments online. You don't have to come down to our office. We get them faster. You don't need to worry about the check, taking longer to get to us through the mail. It's the same as sending a check and putting it in the mail. So definitely take advantage of that option if you can. A lot of students have parents that want to make a payment on their students' behalf. So students can grant access for their parents to pay online by setting up a PIN. And all of this information, all of our due dates, how to set up a PIN, how to make a payment, what your options are, everything is out on our website, which is listed there, which is just the main page, uwsp.edu, and then /SFS, which stands for Student Financial Services. This particular one has more options about Pay My Bill, but if you get to that SFS page, you're going to find all sorts of information about anything related to your bill. And I'd also encourage, always feel free to call too. Terry, along with the rest of the billing staff, are very great. If there's a question they haven't heard, I would be surprised. Okay, so what if you can't pay your bill by the due date? What choices do you have? So as of about a year ago, we set up CashNet payment plans. CashNet is the third-party resource we use to do our payment plans. And so if you were to sign up for a payment plan for fall or spring semester, it's going to break your payment up into 4 installments throughout the term. For summer, it would break it up into 3 installments. There is a $50 fee to enroll, which you do have to pay immediately, but interest is not assessed when you're enrolled in that payment plan. And interest, if you have a big balance, can be expensive. You also, if you're enrolled in that payment plan, won't be charged a late fee, that $75 late fee. So it's much better to, if you need to buy some time to be able to determine how you're going to get your bill paid, then definitely enroll in that payment plan, spread it out. Don't get charged that interest and that administrative fee unnecessarily. CashNet accounts are fully online and self-service for students and parents. So you can, same as your tuition payments, you can pay by credit or debit card with a 2.75 convenience fee, or you can pay with an electronic check, which is just a direct debit from your bank account at no cost. If you want to set up recurring or an auto payment capability throughout the term, you can do that on CashNet. And you can also create a separate parent access through CashNet by setting up a parent PIN. It's important to note that this parent PIN is different than the parent PIN if you're just wanting your parent to make a regular payment to the university without being on a payment plan. Instructions for doing that, all of that are on our website. So how do you enroll in a payment plan? We kind of talked about this before. So back to that logging into Access Point, that financial account and billing tile, you click on make a payment, and then there's going to be a blue link that says click here to pay. And under the installment payment plans, you click to enroll in a plan. So there's kind of more of a walkthrough on our website of what those screens look like, but it's pretty easy and pretty self-explanatory. And if you have any trouble, feel free to call our office and someone will walk you through it screen by screen. You know, we have students that work in our office as well, so sometimes it's nice to be able to talk to another student who can be like, oh yeah, you know, I'll show you where it is. You know, this is what they see, that sort of thing. Okay, so that's pretty much wraps up about your bill, but the next sort of topic is what happens if your financial aid exceeds the balance due on your student billing account? So student refunds will be processed, and we do it weekly. The fastest way to get your refund is for signing up for direct deposit. And you can do it through Access Point like we showed you before in that direct deposit section, but you will also have a task in your task section on Access Point if you haven't enrolled in direct deposit. So you would go to that task section in Access Point, click on the task titled FS Direct Deposit, select that task in your to-do list, and then select the green sign up for direct deposit button. As I mentioned before, you'll need your personal bank information, and that's where your funds are going to go. So you will be, there isn't a notification when those refunds go out, but all of that activity is going to be on your account so that you'll know when those refunds, you can see when you've been overpaid and when that refund will be issued. And then this is just both offices' information. So financial aid is on the first floor, right, and you walk into the student services section, and then student financials is just downstairs. Both easy to find. We try to help everybody as best we can. A lot of times there's a lot of collaboration between our offices, so you may need to, you know, drop into financial aid, ask them a question, and then come on down and talk to us, or we might send you right back upstairs, that sort of thing. So we'll do our best to try to help you. We share a lot of information, but definitely use us as resources. Call that phone number. We're more than happy to talk to you. And the one last comment about talking to you is we love talking to students. We love talking to parents too, but we cannot talk to your parent without the student permission. So just be aware that if your parent calls us asking about information, we cannot discuss the details of your billing account unless you have given us permission. So make sure that you either call in with them or you can stop in our office and complete what's called a FERPA form. And we'll put that on file, and that way if your parent calls, we'll collect some proprietary information, and then we know we can discuss the details with them. Anything to add, Terry?
Can I add one thing, not to your stuff, but to my stuff? One thing with the, the pandemic and everything going on right now, a lot of people's financial situation have been impacted. And on our website, we also have a financial aid appeal process form that you can complete. So if you've suffered a loss of income, or and maybe it's not related to the pandemic, maybe you've gone through, a change in your marital status or something. But if there's been some unfortunate event or something that's impacting you financially, please let us know, and we'd be happy to take things into consideration and see if we can maybe, offer more aid.
So thank you, ladies, very, very much. Now is the time that we're going to sort of open the floor up to questions from any of the students here. So I know I did not notice any in the chat. Alexis, Cameron, did you guys receive any?
I did not.
And Cameron has left the chat. That's interesting. But if anyone has any questions, do feel free to unmute yourself and ask your question. You can also send it in the chat. You can send it to one of us personally if you're not comfortable asking it yourself in front of the group, but we will answer it for everyone, because if you're thinking it, if you're wondering it, someone else probably has that same exact question. So do we have any questions from anyone?
So I do actually. So I actually just filled out the FAFSA yesterday and I did have a question. So on one of the questions it asked, like, on the FAFSA, like, how much money do you have, like, in your savings and checking? And they wanted my parents and me, and we both put in kind of rounded answers. We didn't say like exact dollar amounts. We just did like, so like if, let's say I had like $1,360, like we just did like 1,000. Was that wrong, or did I need to do like exact amounts?
You really are supposed to pull out and your information. And I always tell people, hey, pay all your bills first and then put in those numbers. At this point, you can either go in, you can't correct them. That's it. You may correct it, but you'd have to send us an email explaining why you're changing them. You may not update them. So if you had $1,300 and then you paid your bills and you filed the FAFSA and that's what you recorded, and then you paid your bills and now you're down to 1,000, you can't update that to 1,000. But if you made a mistake and you needed to correct it, you may correct it. So that's up to you. If you're really, really close, and those are fluid accounts anyway, you're probably okay. But in the future, yes, it does need to be the exact amount.
Okay.
That was a fantastic question. Does anyone else have any others? So Cameron, did you get any questions in the chat at all? Now that you're back.
I did not get any questions on my side.
Alrighty. Well, if there are no other questions, we wanted to thank you guys all so much for coming and hanging out with us today. We will hang around for a couple more minutes here in case anyone has any questions, but other than that, we hope that you guys have a fantastic rest of your day, and we are super excited to bring you on campus in the fall. So welcome to the Pointer family, y'all, and we hope to see you again soon.
I was just trying to think if there were any questions that we frequently get asked at some of these presentations, and oftentimes, we try to address them in the next one we give. So I'm not even thinking of anything except for the, financial aid appeal process that's coming to mind. Katie, do you have anything that's kind of been frequently asked in the past?
Yeah, I'm thinking about that. I guess like the biggest piece of advice I would give, we already said, but anything you think you might be eligible for scholarship wise, apply, because even if it's only like $500 and it took you a half an hour to fill it out, you just made $1,000 an hour. That's way more than any part-time job anywhere. So it's worth the effort. Of course, you're not guaranteed it, but you might be that one person that fits all the criteria and fills it out correctly.
Even if you think maybe I don't fit absolutely everything, you never know. Please, please, please still apply, because even if like Ms. Hanson said, even if it's still $500, that is $500 less dollars that you have to pay. That is $500 worth of weight off of your shoulders and something that you don't have to worry about anymore. So apply for every and any scholarship that you think that you may be able to get.
I did think of one more thing that might be helpful for some people. So you might be getting a financial aid refund. You might be in a situation where you will have a refund. If you find out that you've taken out loans and you don't actually need all that money to pay your bills, let us know and we can reduce the amount of loans you have, and we'll walk you through that process, which means you wouldn't be having to pay that back later or having interest on that. So that could save you a lot of money in the long run. So only take out the amount of money you need in loans that you absolutely need, because that loan indebtedness can carry on for a long time. It compounds over the years. So the loans are a great option if you don't have other ways to pay for your education. But if any time that we can help you not have to take out loans or lower your loans, we're happy to help you do that.
That's good advice. Yeah, keeping your indebtedness at a minimum is really, really critical, because when you graduate and you have to go back and repay that money, it's not as easy as you think. I mean, it's important to always be careful with that. Another thing is that I was thinking of that might be helpful is sit down and have that heart-to-heart conversation with your family right now and look at what your estimated bill might be. Subtract your scholarships and grants from that. Look at what you're earning this summer. Throw that difference between what your bill will be and what your scholarships and grants will cover. Throw that difference on the refrigerator and work hard to earn it. If you have to make a decision on spending that money in a different way, look at that refrigerator and let those numbers be a reminder that if you put that money toward that bill now, you will not have to borrow it. And borrowing money, it accrues interest and it actually gets a little more expensive. I'm not saying it's not an option and it's not something you should consider to fund your expenses. But if you can be resourceful and you can save that money and not have to borrow it, it's going to cost you less in the long run. So really sit down, have that heart-to-heart, look at what those figures are, look at what your financial aid is, look at what you've saved and what you can put towards your education, and be realistic and go from there before you borrow that money.
I was going to say one of the things that my mom, well, she didn't suggest to me, but she told me when I started college is scholarships, grants, you don't have to pay back. Loans will come back with a vengeance. So we are here to help make sure that that burden is as light as it can be. And like I said, apply for every single scholarship. I'm going to bring us out of the presentation here just so it feels a little more like a conversation. But do we have anything else that anyone would like to contribute? Any other questions or frequently asked questions? Or
I did receive a question from a student. They said they had 2 loans that were offered to them, but have received scholarships and grants that are enough for the academic year. They were wondering if they should still accept them for the future.
My advice is not to accept the loans for the future if you do not need them now. They do, the unsubsidized loan especially, the subsidized loan does not accrue interest. But the unsubsidized loan does start to accrue interest. So definitely not the unsubsidized loan. And if you can avoid borrowing that money right now, I would just put it off until the future.
And you don't have to decline the loan offer. You can have that loan offer sitting there all school year, because if you have an expense that comes up and let's say in March, you need that money then, that offer will still be sitting there. We can go back in and re-offer it. so if you do decline it and you want it reoffered, you can call our office. We can put it back out there, but you could just have it sitting there as an offer for if you have qualified expenses, educational related things that you need to pay for.
Do we have anything else from anyone? I still don't see anything in the chat, though that doesn't mean they aren't coming in. Anything else? What do you got, Austin?
So I received a work study loan. Could you explain that a little more?
What you received would be a federal work study allocation, and it is not a loan, so it does not need to be repaid back. The difference with, the thing with federal work study is it's an allocation that you can earn up to. So if you have a federal work study allocation, you get paid bi-weekly for the hours that you work. And the reason why it's federal work study and it's offered as an award is because those funds are expected for you to use now to fund your educational expenses. And then what happens in the future is when you file the FAFSA and you're using the aid year 2020, any federal work study funds that you earned, they are taxable and they get put in as adjusted gross income, but then they get removed further on down in the FAFSA, and it's not going to be ever calculated as part of an expected family contribution in the future, because it's meant for you to use now. You get paid bi-weekly, it goes into your bank account, and you use it as you need to. And whatever, if you want to pay your tuition bill, you can. If you want to use it for living costs, you can. If you need it for a haircut, you may. So that's how federal work study works.
Any other questions at all? Because we are more than happy to help you out if you have any. And of course, you also had those fantastic resources where you can follow up later, whether that's in a phone call or an email with these fine folks. But any other questions? I promise you, there's no such thing as a stupid question when it comes to financial aid. I had so many my freshman year, and I went in and they answered all of them for me. Any question at all is more than welcome.
And I think financial aid, you're doing Zoom meetings too, is that correct? So if somebody wanted to meet, but not in person?
Yes. And probably is encouraged even as we come back to campus, the more we can do like this is probably better, but we are still opened. Once we could return to campus, our doors will be open too. But we'll all have face masks.
So these eyes that you see right now, remember them. But with that being said, I apologize for trying to wrap us up way too earlier. But if you guys have any questions that you'd like to stick around for, do feel free to. We'll hang around here for another couple minutes or until the last student leaves. But other than that, have a fantastic rest of your day, guys. We hope to see you on campus soon. And welcome again to the Pointer family. We are so excited to have you with us. Did you have a question at all, Cynthia? Cynthia, are you there? I'm gonna assume that she doesn't. I'm gonna stop the recording here.